I was a football parent for 4 years. My oldest son played at a football powerhouse. So for me, it was really, really a difficult conflict. And then I met Dr. Bennett Omalu, who's the doctor who discovered CTE. And, he's such a magnificent, honorable, beautifully naive man. When I met him and he talked to me through the science and through his experience, and it was just after that meeting, it was something I couldn't say no to. For me, it's such a powerful story. Dr. Omalu is a man who his greatest dream ever was to be an American. In our first meeting, he said, I viewed America as where God sent his favorite people. And I was like, oh, so it was such a beautiful person who had such a painful conflict to have to bring out information about America's game, and, it was, for me, it was something I had to.
It's such an honor. I can't believe the list of honorees that are in there tonight. It's kind of terrifying. But no, it's wonderful. And I've been I received an award for an education when I was 24 or 25. And it's nice coming back. I feel more grown up and slightly more prepared for it. It's exciting. Oh, it was just such a great character arc. I mean, she starts the film just so ordinary and so everyday, and she becomes this extraordinary woman through the story. And the challenge of kind of telling that arc. Oh, I'm sorry, I hate your microphone. Telling that journey believably was so exciting. And then just to get to work on this film because, it took such a long time to get it made, and it's such an important part of our history and something we just don't know anything about. And to get that out there was such a privilege.
It's the most appreciation, we couldn't possibly put it in words how we feel at this point, but just to be here and to have so many people touched by what we did, it's special, So at this point, we're just happy that everybody else is happy. We're here to see all the smiles,
I think socially, what is the awareness that is raised, and the amount of people that feel that they can connect to this story. That's the thing that surprised us the most. We knew it was powerful, but when it came out, I think it left a mark,
Are you guys ready for a busy award season?
The busy award season better be ready for us.
All right. Thank you so much.
It feels, I grew up in Sweden. For me, I kind of watch the YouTube clips of these kind of events, so I kind of still don't really get what I'm doing here. I feel very much like somebody who's still just peeking out of the curtain, and so I'm just extremely happy. It's a film that I really care about, and I'm very excited for it to come out. So.
And for you, what was the most important part that you really wanted to convey about it?
I think I really admire her because she was a woman who was able to. I'm a romantic in the sense that I think it's incredible that she can love somebody so unconditionally, and that she's kind of always she's able to look away from whatever tough journey she's on and know that she wants to focus on the person that she loves more than anything, and that person's journey in self-discovering. I think anyone who's met him knows that he's probably one of the most humble and sweet people, persons, and he's really become a very good friend of mine. I'm very lucky that we're now sharing a studio, so I'm able to peek in and watch him work, and he's always, like you said, he transformed, but he's a very daring actor. He's very brave, and he always pushed me to step up and challenge him back.
And what's next for you?
I'm shooting Born at the moment.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Like these action roles?
I'm a big Born. I've watched all the films, and this is with Matt again, who is an actor that I've looked up to since I don't know when, and Paul Greengrass is back writing it and directing it, and I kind of found myself, I was at the other day, I was like, oh my god, this looks like one of those film sets. Like, it was, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Inside Out,
Easier.
best film I've seen this year, yeah.
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's, you know, it's awesome to be honoured for anything you do. Because I spent most of my childhood being kicked in the ass for the bad stuff I did. So, you know, you look down, you see a red carpet, and you feel safe.
You're like, I've done it.
All right. Today's a safe day.
It's remarkable it took so long for a guy like this to break through. Every performance he gives is amazing.
What Scott's done is moulded a film that I think is a really great tale of two men and their, well, three men and many other players, and their weird, odd, almost unbelievable relationship with each other. And it just gave me an opportunity to have something really great to sink my teeth into. And, you know, as a filmmaker myself, it's not lost on me that when you give a performance, that it's really up to someone really great to put it together as well. So, you know, it's an actor is not operating alone in a bubble, but, you know, it's nice to be honoured.
You have one brother who's the most powerful politician in the city of Boston, the other who's the most violent criminal in Boston's history, and then a childhood friend that allows him to operate with a license to kill in the city of Boston. You can't make this stuff up.
It feels really good, especially just making my music, loving my music as much as I do. Be able to branch out and be respected in other places is cool too. I like the chance to be able to honor somebody else's legacy as well as give across a good message. And it was just a really good feeling when I heard the song, so I was passionate about it, not knowing how far it was going to go, but just knowing that it was a great song.
It's incredible. I like to think of when I first sat down and wrote it, which was a little bit more than 1 year ago, and I was just in this tiny little studio. I had like a t-shirt. I really didn't have much money, and now you know, just fast forward 1 year later, I can afford a suit and accept an award for the song. It's pretty incredible. I thought to myself, well, it was kind of an assignment that Fast and Furious 7 had given me to a lot of writers. They opened it up to a lot of writers, a lot of brilliant writers, and they said, try and write the ending song for the movie. And I was like, I didn't know Paul. I don't know how I'm going to do that. So I thought to myself, well, what was it like for someone to lose somebody? So I literally pretended I was Vin Diesel. I put myself in Vin Diesel's shoes, and I asked myself, what would Vin Diesel's last words be to Paul Walker? And like, what would he text him? I'll tell you all about my life when I see you again. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. It just happened. It happened in 10 minutes, believe it or not.
It's amazing, it really is, you know, just kind of, you know, as we said before, the reception that we've gotten since TIFF and every other festival we've been to has been amazing. So to then be, you know, honoured on top of that and be recognised in this way is lovely. It really is. It's something that, like, I don't really think about. So when something like that happens, it's a lovely surprise. I wanted to do it because it's my parents' story, and it's something that, it's a journey that they had gone through themselves. I was born in New York, and so New York and Ireland are two places that kind of make up who I am. And I think it's such a universal story. It's something that anyone who's ever left home can tap into, and everyone has so far. So it's been incredibly personal for everyone who's watched it as well, you know.
Well, we've actually blown through the roof, and it's still going. So of course I'm thrilled to death. You know, what else am I going to say? And I think we've yet to open in China, Japan, and I think that's about it. But we've done extremely well. I'm thrilled. I think the story took a sidestep away from, you know, the monsters and the fantasies of science fiction. Mine, Gravity did as well. I liked Gravity and I liked Interstellar because of their reality-based idea. This is completely grounded in someone who is fundamentally a maroon. he is left behind on Mars. And if you read the book, if you get left behind on Mars, you will survive.
No, I'm overwhelmed. I mean, I was lucky enough to be here at the Hollywood Film Awards with the King's Speech and to be honoured as a director for The Danish Girl, particularly because it's a 7-year passion project for me, for Eddie Redmayne, for the producers, and you know, it's a story, it's a love story that we all fell for, and it's a real passion project for all of us. Yeah, Eddie couldn't be here tonight because he's shooting a small British movie about magical beasts. I think it's a prequel to something called Harry Potter. Anyway, Alicia Vikander, thrilled that she's been recognised. I mean, I fell in love with her at the audition. You know, we did the first take. She was so moving, I started to cry. And Eddie was like, "You've completely given it away, Tom. It's obvious she's going to get the part." And I'm like, "It's not obvious. It's not obvious." As I sort of wipe the tears away. No, she's very moving. She's got great heart. Brings great energy to this role, and I'm really pleased that the Hollywood Film Awards are honouring her.
Wow, it was a great experience. It was just the actors on this show. We just had a ball. Quentin was absolutely at the top of his game, and it was exciting. Every day was just a great experience. It really was. It was the best experience I ever had.
And then
I've always enjoyed it when I've done it. I like westerns. They're a genre that, you know, if the movie or the television show is really good, I think I like it. If it doesn't grab me, it doesn't grab me. So I don't just like westerns because they're westerns. I think they have to be compelling.
And what do you think it is that?
Well, I mean, I think he really had something to say here. I think it's one of those movies where you have to listen to what's said and follow the bouncing ball sometimes, you know. It's interesting to me that of the 8 movies now, basically, that he's made, 25% of them are westerns. They're in that culture. I think it's important to him. I think he had something he wanted to say in this film. He talks about doing one more, however many more movies he might make. And I think that Quentin wants to make his stamp as a Western director. I think that's an important thing for him historically to do.
And then
it's been a long ride. I mean, we did it as a play, well, not as a stage reading. Then, you know, to do it as a film, we went to Telluride for 3 months. Then we came back here for 2 months. And in Telluride, when you see the film, have you seen the film? No, neither have I. But when you see the film, we're in a cabin or a house, about one big room, that's all, and no heat. And we're at 10,000 feet, January, February, and March. When we came back here to shoot on the stage in Hollywood, they refrigerated the stage to 27 degrees. So throughout the entire movie, you see our breath all the time and when we talk, and how hard it is to talk at altitude. But it was a great experience simply because I was very lucky. I went from Alexander Payne to Quentin Tarantino. So, and I think we all feel the same way. I think the best thing he does, at least for me, he gives you a chance to get better. And he gave me a chance to get better.
You know, I think with everything I've done in the past, I've always tried to have some reality mixed with some fun, with some energy. And when I read that book, I just thought I couldn't put it down. It was like a page turner, yet it was about something that was very important and, you know, adult. But yet Lewis had blended the two so well that I was just drawn to it immediately.
Well, the film really started watching my daughter grow up, and she was 11, I think, at the time we started, and she kind of goes through the same thing that I went through as a kid, and that we echoed in the film. It's hard growing up, you know, and a lot of times we feel very vulnerable, showing our emotions and expressing ourselves, and really that's the key to the most important things in our lives, the connection we share between each other. So it ended up, I think we had some pretty deep stuff to talk about, even though it's a funny, goofy, you know, cartoon.
Well, it's very nice. Anything that gives us a chance to talk about local journalism, which we think is so important, to talk about the issue of clergy sex abuse and, the issue that needs to be paid attention to, survivors, that's thrilling for us.